Hey guys, on my way back from the gym, and I thought I was going to touch on a front-end related issue, or actually it's more a design issue. And the issue I would like to address is, when do you stop developing your user experience? And some controversial people, well, it's not really controversial, you will hear all of the UX people watching this immediately saying, well, that's a very difficult question to answer, Frederick. And I go, yes, that is true. It is very true that it is a difficult question to answer, but just hear me out. I will try my best to formulate how I believe you should think about user experiences and interfaces and all that good stuff, because these things are important. But there is something that I learned from working at a design company here in Gothenburg. And I spoke to the CEO of my boss, basically, and we were sitting down to lunch, and he said something that I think it's very true. So we were a handful of developers, and most of the company was, well, most of the people working there were designers. And my boss said that the thing with designers is that if you let them, they will design for months. A design is never finished. A user experience is never finished. So what he liked to do was to ask them how much time they needed, and then give them 2 days or 2 weeks, depending on the size of the project, less than they were asking for. And he said, I don't do that because I want to be cruel. I do that so that they don't get too caught up in perfection, because all designers are striving for visual perfection, and I can vouch for that. I can confirm that is true. A lot of the designers that I work with, it is very difficult sometimes. With some of them, it's very difficult because certain things that they ask for are very technically difficult or very costly to create, and they won't let up. And they shouldn't let up. But at the same time, there are situations where you're kind of forced to do that. Like, if you have to think about what it is that you're going for. So if you are trying to create, say, an Apple product, or something where the design is everything, the company and the client, or the client that you're working for, they're investing, like they're looking for this beautiful, amazing user experience, then that's where you should put your emphasis, absolutely, because then it's okay that you're going all in with the design. But if you're working for, let's say that you're creating an internal system for, I don't know, Volvo or whatever, they don't care to the same extent. There is no reason whatsoever for you to go, completely crazy and try to create this perfect liquid animated super interface. And I think that there is a little bit, and I see it all the time. Especially in front-end world, where you see front-end developers who simply cannot stop trying to create more than is asked for. And they get so caught up trying to create these experiences that they basically make the clients unhappy, because the clients are not looking for perfect, they're looking for good enough. And I think that there is a strength in thinking about that a little bit. And that's actually what I wanted to touch on. I believe that there is an unspoken illusion in the front-end community. And that is that you will be able to create a user interface that is so great that people fall to their knees and weep. That's my thinking. That the people who are really passionate about UX, that's what they're trying to do. And I think that for all of you guys, and I do that too, I ask myself when I deliver something, I ask, have I ever done that? When was the last time you used an app on your phone or a web page where you really stopped and thought, wow, this user experience is great? I'm willing to bet that that's fairly rare. For the most part, you only really notice when you don't like something. That's usually my thought. anyway. Like I know when I don't like something, but it's very rare that I think like it's very rare that an entire application impresses me so much that, or rather the user experience is so great that I send them an email and say, oh, your product is amazing. Sometimes it happens, but it's very rare. So if we accept that the odds of you creating something that great is the cost of doing something like that is monstrous, then to me the question really becomes, okay, how do I know when I've done enough? What is good enough? And that's where usually user testing and all of that stuff comes in, and that's very important. You should absolutely be checking with your users and your customers, like, are they happy with this? Are they happy with this? Because let's remember, you're not building things for you, you're building things for them. And if they are happy and you're not happy, so what? As long as if the product is working and your customers are happy, then you don't have to you don't have to add more things on. Odds are it's more likely that you're going to mess up the product because you're adding too much. Remember, less is more. So to end, I would say that I believe that an interface is good enough in the regular case when it looks professional. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you are you're a 40-something single mother and you want to start up your own little small business. You remember these web pages from 10 years back where, there were, like, the background was all animated GIFs, and like there at the top you saw the person's name in some very curly, nice font or something like that. That tells the user that this is a private individual who are not, they're not a professional. And then you go to, say, Facebook, or let's take a bank's website or Uber's website. That's a graphical masterpiece. These websites communicate very clearly. They give a sensation of professionalism, and the important thing about that is that people trust the stuff that feels high quality or professional. And what I argue is that that's what you should be aiming for. You should not try to think from the perspective that, how can I make this the best web user experience on the planet? I'm saying that start off by thinking, okay, how can I make people trust this application? How can I make people feel that this is a safe application to use? The best test I can give you is that if you have a payment system or anything like that, try to use your own application and ask, would I feel comfortable with giving this organization my credit card number? If you answer yes, then I'm pretty sure you probably have something that is good enough. But if you answer no, then you need to go back to work. Then you need to have a look, because that trust, that's what people go for. That's why people come back to McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't have the best hamburger in the world, but they have an established brand that people trust, and that's what you're trying to build with your customer. You're trying to communicate through your interface that we are a trustworthy organization and we will make this experience that you're going to have as good as we can.